name is Sofia. I have worked with mastering since 2006 and have this channel together with Thomas. We try to put out content here that may be helpful to you in your own music production. So today I'm going to talk about MS for solving a common dilemma in mastering. Thomas has already made a video about MS stereo, and I will put the link in the description. Basically what it is having the two channels as mid-side instead of left and right. Mid-side can also be called sum and difference. In mastering, as you switch from left-right to MS, you will divide the signal based more on panning. So in the left-right system, you have things panned out to the sides, and you have some stuff in the middle and in between. And if it's panned in the middle, it will end up only in the M signal. And if you have it panned somewhere not in the middle, it will show up in both the M and the S signal. The more you pan something out, the quieter that will be in the M signal. If you have something completely panned to the left or right, it will still show up in the M signal, but more quiet than if you had it panned closer to the middle. So the M signal is basically the mono signal, and the S signal contains stereo information and becomes louder as the elements of the mix are panned out. One note to make here is that what I'm going to talk about now is very relevant if you don't have stems or all the channels in the mix itself. So if you only have access to the stereo mix, then this that I'm going to say now is useful. Otherwise, it's of course quite good to fix stuff in the mix. But anyway, in mastering, a classical dilemma when you only have the stereo mix is when you have two instruments in the same frequency area that need opposite processing. So for example, the lead vocals and the guitars, if one of them, say the vocals, sound dull and the other, the guitars, sound too sharp, then if you start EQing the harsh and sharp guitars to make them softer, then the lead vocals that were dull may even get even more dull. And also if you start making the vocals brighter, the guitars start sounding even more harsh with that EQ change. So this situation can feel like all changes will make the mix fall apart a bit. So in this example that I'm going to show you now, there is a lead vocal that would need a bit more clarity, while the acoustic guitars, they already sound bright enough, maybe even a bit too bright.
When the world crumbles around you, nothing helps and the darkness is closing in. I'll wrap you up in my thoughts, 'cause babe, if you're with me, you'll always win.
I will show you this here using the Mastering Starter Pack for Reaper. If you're a Reaper user and want to try this setup, you can download it for free on our website. I will put a link in the description for that. Thomas has put automatic loudest matching in there as well, and other functions that are good for mastering. I really like using it. We have used Reaper since 2009 when we started our own company. Before that we were using Pyramix. Anyway, back to the demonstration. So if I use a normal stereo EQ and add a bit of high end, then the guitars sound too bright.
Since you came, my heart has been devoured, and I burned you with my flames, causing planetary destruction power by the thought of your name.
In this case, the guitars are heavily panned out, so then you actually reach them in the S signal. The vocals are panned to the middle and they will not contribute to the S signal. If I EQ the M signal, then there will be a contribution from those panned out guitars in there. Remember, things that are panned out goes to both M and S. But since the guitars are fully panned out, the contribution to the M signal of the guitars will be relatively low in relationship to the vocals that are panned right in the middle. If I add high end only to the mid signal, then the lead vocal will get most of that boost, and the wide pan guitars will be less affected.
Since you came, my heart has been devoured, and I burned you with my flames, causing planetary destruction power by the thought of your name.
I can also soften the sound of the guitars by reducing the high mids only in the side channel. Though this will not affect the lead vocals since those are panned to the center and is not appearing at all in the side signal.
Let me be your forever. Firework love until we get old. We'll never forget that we were golden.
This is a big change, a little bit over-exaggerated. It's good to exaggerate while demonstrating things, I think. Even though it's a big change, though, you will need to listen in headphones or in good speakers to be able to hear it. This is especially important, of course, because this video is about stereo. If you listen in mono, like on your phone's speakers, this example won't make much sense. Mastering is often about small changes, and you need to be able to be a little bit surgical about it to make a big improvement. By doing a lot of small things, I have noticed that I can keep the integrity of the mix and make a big improvement overall. So making drastic, complete makeover changes, sometimes that's necessary, but it's not that usual. So we have very competent clients, and the mixes they send us tend to sound very good. So getting that big improvement, there's usually not one big thing to do. It's more a grind of small stuff.
If you're with me, you'll always win. Since you came, my heart has been devoured, and I burned you with my flames, causing planetary destruction power by the thought of your name. Let me be your forever disaster, live on happily ever after. A firework love until we get old. We'll never forget that we were golden.
So since you are EQing the S signal in one way when you're dealing with the guitars, and part of the guitars is still in the M signal, then you can understand how this could lead to phase problems. So you will get a hang of the amount of MS processing you can get away with. But one thing that I can comment just in general is that if you have, for example, a metal mix, it can sound more exciting to add some phase differences, and that will add to the overall sound. But if you have a high-end A/B recording with jazz or classical and with perfect microphone placement during the recording, and you start messing with phase differences in this way in the mastering, it can sound quite bad. So you will always have to be mindful of the stereo imaging, which brings me to a good tip for checking this. So side stuff can be less exaggerated in speakers or in headphones with crossfeed. So I usually listen through all our masters without any crossfeed. So if there is something wide going on in the sides, it's kind of easier to hear. Also use a goniometer. And if you don't know what a goniometer is, you should check out Thomas' video that is released together with this one. I can also give you a bonus tip that doesn't really fit into anywhere in this video, but I think it kind of fits into the topic. So we used to have a GML 8200 equalizer, and it was the unstepped version. So the mastering version of this EQ is a stepped version, which is really good because you want the same setting for left, right, so that the whole stereo image won't be tilted. However, so we had the unstepped version, so we always use that in MS. So if it was a little bit uneven between the channels, then it wouldn't tilt the whole stereo image as much. It could get a little bit wider or more narrow, but it wouldn't be tilted. So if you have an unstepped EQ that you want to use for mastering, it can be really useful to have that inside an MS part of your chain. So for us, we went out to MS before the DA and then back after the AD. So there are so many other things to say about this, but we had our whole analog processing in MS basically, which could be maybe interesting. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you found it useful and helpful. All the best to you. Good luck with your current projects, and thank you for watching.